idea I just want to try. So I am going to show you the start off. So I'm going to be working with a Vuba Vista coating. This has got a very long working time for me. Normally I work with stuff that cures within 30 to 40 minutes, but I think you can get up to an hour with this, but do your own test just to make sure if you do work with it. I'm going to be working with just 3 colours, black, red, or blood red, and this one is rose gold. Looks gold to me. These 2 are from Resin 8, and this one is from Elichem, which is Resi Tint. I've got 3 boards prepared, but I think I'm only going to need 2, but I don't want to mess it up. So basically I'm going to have a board of red, a board of black, gold in between it, and there will be just whatever I've got left here. It's going to be a surprise, so come on this journey with me. So tonight I'm only going to need to, I'm going to let this almost cure like you do with sculpting. So it's been sat there for a good 15 minutes already. I've set my timer for another 20 minutes just to see how it's going, because I don't want to pour it too early, otherwise it'll be too runny. And I'm going to pour them in little circles, and then I'll come back at 4 for the next stage, 4 hours should I say, and then we'll reveal in the morning to see if it's been successful. So I'm excited. I'll do my best to talk out loud as we go through this process. You'll see that I'm rotating between black and gold, gold and black, red and black. I'm just trying to work out what's going to give me a nice effect. And when I'm pouring these, I am thinking that I'm going to create nice petals of different sizes. But hashtag disclaimer, when you do put your resin down on the board, it's going to continue spreading for a little bit, even if you've waited as long as I have to be able to pour it. So that's something you need to be aware. So space is important. And also this board, although I thought it was level, it wasn't quite level. And that takes me on a different journey. But I'll let you watch this until I come back and share some more thoughts with you. So it's about now when I realised, oh dear, I didn't leave enough gap between my resin, so I could have waited a little bit of time before pouring it, but it's my first time working with a Vista coating for, or should I say, Vuba Vista coating for this kind of project. So timing is important. You want it to be just curing. You want to make sure your board's level, and you want to leave enough space for your resin to keep moving for a little bit. So that was the main lesson I'd learnt at this stage. So this is where there's a whole chunk missing, which is where I do this part. Now let me tell you the story why. When I came back 4 hours later, every single blob of resin had moulded into each other, and I was going to just throw it all away and start again. And I thought to myself, no, let's see what will happen. So I cut them into petal shapes, or so I thought, and continued to layer them in the idea that I had. And I'm so glad I did do this. I'm sorry I never got to share it with you, but it showed me that it's possible to do what it is that I'm trying to do, but I just need to take a little bit of effort. And I'm practicing just adding a little bit of glitter and see what value that adds, if anything. So again, stick with me because you are going to see me repeat this process 2 more times, but correctly. So all I'd done is I'd got this big blob of resin that all melded together. I got my scissors, I cut them into petal shapes, and then I layered them in a way that you're going to see shortly. Now this is version 2. So at this stage, I'd learned to spread my dots out a little bit more. I waited a little bit longer for my resin to have cured or start to cure, and it's a fine line because once it starts curing you've got to move quick, but at the same time you've got to get all these dots down, and I've speeded this up 600 times for you, but it takes a while just to control these dots. And you're always going to have a tray of red, a tray of black, and then half red, half black, but what you are going to see is this is more successful. Now the downside on this is I don't quite get it right, and there is an area I fail, and that's where I put Vaseline between the dots to try and create a natural barrier. And whilst overall it's a vast improvement on the other process there, you see there's 2 that just wanted to live together. So still not perfected how much to put down and how many dots I can get away with, but in the 3rd stage you'll find that I feel like I've got that more successful. So it's the same process as before, and this time I'm keeping my eyes on my dots and trying to stop them kissing each other. Wish me luck on that front. What I did enjoy is having the gold underneath the black and the red, because it came towards the top and you got some really beautiful natural effects under there. So I continued that process in my next attempt at it. Here I go with the Vaseline. Oh dear, Sharon. Be careful. It sounded like a good idea at the time. Anyway, when I walk away from this and come back, it is a 4-hour window. And what I've learned is when you're using this cellophane wrap, which is what I use for my sculptures, it's typically what florists will use. You can get it from Amazon. Normally I wait an additional 4 hours to this, which means my resin is fully cured, so it pulls away a lot easier. Now, this particular batch I'm working with, it pulled away quite easily because it was fairly thick resin, but some of it didn't, and that might answer some of the problems when some people are saying, well, why is my resin sticking to it? It's because you trying to pull it away from it too early, or your resin's too thin, so it's bonded with it. Anyway, I'm rotating backwards and forwards and starting to overlap. Now I'm using a little bit of masking tape to hold the petals in place because this is part of the learning journey, and I'm just overlapping it so it always covers the previous fold, and just rotating between the red and gold and should I say black to see what I enjoy. Now, one thing you need to be aware of is when you are applying your masking tape to hold your petals in place, be aware that you need an exit strategy. When you're actually going to be taking it off, you want to make sure that you've not trapped your tape between your 2 resin that is still going to bond towards each other, because it's still got about 4 or 5 hours where it's still slightly tacky, and another 12 hours until it's fully cured. So just one thing to take into consideration. Now the plate was added to put some weight onto it and keep it pushed down, and we're doing the reveal. So this was 12 hours later, and this is where I was discovering a little bit about, oh dear, Sharon, you didn't really place your masking tape in the right place. You can still see there's a little bit of bend in that resin there, and because some of the petals I'd still got the cellophane wrap on, it meant that that bottom section there could be pulled out, which was a huge advantage for me because it meant I could get my masking tape. So that was another lesson that I'd learned, and I really like the iridescent look of keeping that cellophane on the back of some of those petals. So my final round I actually kept it there just for a different feature. Now the one thing I have found is the bases of these sure is ugly, and I've not worked out how to perfect that when you're doing the lapping over. Now I'm sure other people may have tried this and they've got their own ideas, so please share it with the art community. You'll see what I do to finish that off, and I'm really happy with the way I finish them off because, you know, I've come up with this lovely idea and I think it's original to me. I've not seen anybody else doing it, but I'm just doing it because I want to see where I can take my sculptures and try different ways. And in my head I'm thinking, well, what could they be used for? Are they going to be used for table decorations? Could I adapt them so they're for around candles? Are they going to be standalone like ornaments, or are they going to be used for like hanging on the wall art, or even make my own bouquet of flowers? But let's just do the reveal time. I was really happy with this one. Now it came away very easily. The cellophane came away. There was no issues, and really happy with this end result. And I really did love how it looked closed in the middle, and the little bit of gold coming out, and the rotation between the black and the red. Now I call these my Queen of Hearts. Off with your head from the wonderful Alice in Wonderland. I'm trying to work out what to do this collection, but I am going to do a collection of work within these colours because I really do enjoy that, and I think that's what I'm going to do for future ones. So you might find that there'll be domino sets in it and everything like that. But this is where I'm trying to understand how to create a nice base, and I'm just dusting some gold. Now this was a really bad error on my part. I'm thinking, well, you know, if I'm going to attach it to a coaster, maybe I should have green foliage to make it look like leaves. And standalone, beautiful colours, but I felt it really devalued my sculpture. And it was, I actually dreamt about it at night thinking, oh, I really don't like that colour choice. But what was the worst that can happen? I came and I changed it to black, and I felt that that really added value. I gave you another spoiler. Stick with me, you're about to see third attempt, and I think you will agree I've got the space, I take a little bit more time, and I generate more petals, and I feel like I've more or less got this down pat. But I'll keep pushing it, I'll keep looking for other ways. Process is exactly the same other than space and rotating sizes. I'll leave you to a little bit of music, and then you'll get to see what the second one looks like with the base as black. Hope you're enjoying. So as you can see, the
resin isn't willing to come away from this cellophane very easily, and I didn't want to put my fingers all over it because it's still very tacky. But like I said, I wanted to keep the iridescent look on these anyway, so it reminded me to leave it on. And by keeping it on as well, when you're touching the resin, you're not leaving your fingerprints in there anyway. So I've saved you the time of seeing me cut every single one of these, but there was a lot of time went into cutting them around. A labour of love, but it is worth it. Now I have a egg cup, a champagne flute, and a normal glass, and I try 3 different sizes to see what looks you're going to get and to see if the size gives you restrictions when it comes to these flower sculptures. So relax, enjoy. I'll put some more music on and I'll come and chat to you a little bit later. Bye. So we're going to reveal these, and the thing I was aware of with the egg cup one, I didn't pick as many flowers with gold on, and I think that's the only thing I'd change. And I'm still considering, should I come back and add some gold leaf to these petals? But I was really happy with it. A cute little flower that you've got there. I think it had more movement to the petals, and I quite enjoy that. I think you could see I was looking and I was purposely seeing where I could add any kind of movement or character to the petals. The same with all of them. They all came away beautifully. No issues whatsoever with removing them, and I could tell each time I've done this I'd perfected the process a little bit more. And you can always keep improving, you can always keep learning, but I think it's at a point where I can show you all in the world, and I'd love your thoughts on it. Can you see an improvement in the 3 different processes? Could you tell on these ones that I was being more purposeful with the placement of the petals and how they fold together and everything like that? Now the third one I wasn't as happy with, and you'll see what I do to it. I basically deconstruct it and rebuild it again. But I think if I'd have given more depth, so put longer ones in the middle, it might not have looked as flat as it did on the third one. But I'm going to leave you to listen to some music. I just wanted to share the thoughts on these, and I was sort of phasing on to, okay, how do I now finish these off? So let me take you on the journey with where we go from here. So some of you may have been screaming at the screen saying, Sharon, stop, what are you doing? Well, this was the really big one that I deconstructed, and it deconstructed very easy because of the film that was still on there. And what I attempted to do to start with the heat gun is if I applied a bit of heat, because remember it's not fully cured at this stage, could I bend it a little bit and put it to the smaller glass? So I tried that and it wasn't really behaving. So I came in with a little bit of UV resin and my, obviously, UV light. And that was enough to help me reconstruct it, apply that heat and let it set. And it held together beautifully, and then I secured it with resin once it was put in its little mold. So that's what I was doing there. Oh, we've gone off camera a little bit. I might need to refocus that. There we are, we're back. This is after it's cured and it's reformed. As you can see, it's made, I think, another beautiful flower sculpture, and I'm happy because it's got a little bit more height, and I think it's a little bit more interesting than how it was originally. So never give up is what I say. And when you saw the single petals, that was because I had some leftover ones and I just decided to bend them for future projects that's coming up. Now all of these are now being demolded. I basically had some coaster molds, put my black in there, and then pop my flower in the top of it, just so that it holds it together, the whole structure, but also it just finishes it off nicely. And if you are going to be using these as table decorations or on your on your wall, it's going to make it easier. So it's just the same black that I use for the petals, a little bit of gold, a little bit of red throughout the base, and then you'll see me apply some of the Mixation relief, which is a glue specifically for gilding, and I come in with my gold foil, and then I add some sealant around that to protect it, and these are done. And the only thing that I'm going to wait and find out is, do I add any more of the gold embellishing to the leaves? I don't think so. I think they're fine as they are, but I'm going to ask you to let me know your thoughts, and I'm going to ask you to let me know where would you take this project? What would you use these for? Anyway, it's been lovely hanging out with you. There is going to be a debrief at the end where you come in to see it all. But other than that, thumbs up, subscribe, share, comments are always welcome. I'm going to put a little bit of music to play you out. We're near the end result now. So thank you so much for all your support. Have a great day and keep safe.
are for review time. What a journey we have been on from the initial thoughts that I had. And we started off with this one, and the issues we had was all my dots had bled into each other, so I had to cut the shapes. And I thought, well, I may as well try it still, because I wanted to see, is the theory that I've got in my head going to work? And that was in. I'm so glad that I stuck with it, because that gave me the idea of what I wanted to do. And then I came in with my second one and managed to get the petals so that they, other than a couple, they stayed separate. And I created the gold coming through, and I really do love this black and red together. It really does take me to Alice in Wonderland and Queen of Hearts. So, and I keep thinking like House of Cards. And I originally put the green on the bottom, and talk about when you choose a colour choice and it devalues it. So I came in and I put the black, the gold and the red, and then I came through with my gold leaf, which has all been protected. And then I wanted to see if I could take it to the next level, and I definitely had more control. And I had baby, mum and dad. So with the baby, this was when I did it in an egg cup, and I really do enjoy the feeling that you got. The only thing with this is I did a little one, so I didn't have much gold. So I'm still contemplating, do I go and add some gold leaf to it? But I've added a tiny little coaster base to it. And then this one I think is my favourite one, because this one I actually took my time with sculpting the petals and giving movement. And again, I put it on the black base because I really enjoyed it, but I learned and I put black in there, and I just love the depth that you get in with it. And because I kept taking my time to look at how these are flowing, I feel it created a lot more control. And then the big one I tried with a bigger glass, and that's where I didn't like it, because on a bigger glass it was too flat, and although it looked okay coming out, I learned some limitations with that. So I took each petal off bit by bit, and because it's got the iridescent foil on the back, it meant that if you really put a lot of force into it, you could pull them apart. So I did, and then I attempted, well, can I bend the petals to a different cup size? So I went down a cup size, added some heat, and found out that it wasn't really going to hold too much. I had a little bit of an issue, and that's why I had to go in with a UV resin to hold the shape. And then I cemented it with some resin to the back of a canvas. So in my head I'm thinking, I feel that these are done. I don't feel that I need to go and add the glitter like I did here, because I've got enough of the gold coming through, but you might contemplate putting some gold leaf through there. Now I'm going to try this with multiple different colours, but the world's your oyster. I've given you the idea. Now you go off and create these. I mean, you could turn them into flowers with a stand on it in a vase if you want, or, you know, within your artwork. But I feel that these are going to be nice table decorations, or in your cupboards or on your shelves, just freestanding resin sculptures. And I hope that I've given you the gift of imagination. If you are doing these already, let me know what you're using them. Let me know, should I go in and add some gold to that one? What do you think to it hanging on a little round canvas? So you've got that on your wall as it is. What about the table centres? Now I am going to try and come and do one so it's got enough space for candle in the middle, but at the minute I'm just working on how to get a more organic flower. And obviously that would set fire in the middle. So I'll continue working on this process and see where I can evolve it to, and I'll work with some different colour schemes. So I've decided I'm going to start to do themes. So when I start to explore things, I'm going to do maybe a collection within that colour theme, and then move on to the next one, because that might add a lot of ideas for you, but also make it a little bit easier for me, and also helps with my Etsy store getting a collection. But I'm Sharon. I'm digressing. Thumbs up, subscribe, share, comments are always welcome. Remember to join my Facebook group should you want to showcase any of your creations. It's a beautiful group, and hopefully we will inspire you the same way you will inspire us. Also my Etsy store should you wish to purchase any of my treasures that may be available. But other than that, come back and visit again soon, and let me know what you thought to this video and these pieces here. It's been lovely hanging out with you. I hope you got a lot out of this, and remember to tag me if you are inspired by any of my work. I'd love to see what you've created. And on that note, off with her head. I think that's what it said, isn't it? Anyway, see you on the next video. Bye bye.